Welcome to ComSpark. Today we are in Cincinnati, Ohio. My name is Louie Hollmeyer, and I will be your guest host today. I would like to welcome our guest, Stephen Jacobs, Director of IT with Great Oaks Career Campuses. Stephen, it's good to see you today.
Good to see you.
I want to talk a little cloud, a little security. I know you've had a little bit of, or maybe you can tell us a little bit where you're at in your migration to the cloud. I think you may or may not be adopting maybe some public cloud strategies. Tell us a little bit about that and your footprint and roadmap going forward.
Okay, so where we're at strategic-wise is the realization that in order to get to essentially a hardware agnostic environment where you can get the information anytime you want, any place you want, we need to move out of our local regional data centers. So in the past, we've had data centers located in Cincinnati, another off-site location. The typical thing, large mount racks, generators, the whole 9 yards. And the problem that you run into being still regionally located is just like anything, you're at the mercy of weather, service providers, all of that. So our goal is really to get beyond that point and start hosting the majority of our stuff within the cloud. So right now we've got 90% of our environment sitting in Azure. The reason why we chose Azure was that we needed to be able to localize our data within the United States. So being essentially a public entity, we wanted to make sure our data never left the country's soil. Student data is very ripe for essentially attack and farming on the side of cybersecurity. I mean, what better place to start, right? Mm-hmm. Get the data while it's young, pick up all that information. I mean, wow, that'd be a great place to be if you're into that sort of thing. But that's kind of the market that you have to look at, is that they don't really have credit established yet, so nobody's monitoring their credit, and it's a good ripe target for cyber criminals to go after, based on the sheer fact that nobody's really watching what a child's credit looks like. So you can pluck away those social security numbers, establish bad credit or whatever you want to do with it, and nobody actually follows that along. So that's part of the reason why an education is such I think the last study it was number 2 target for cyber attack. And that's the main reason behind it, is just that data is just so ripe for churning and so valuable on the web.
Definitely. I understand. Can I use that just to parlay back a little bit at a higher level around security? Because you said you're regional. I believe you have 4 campus locations.
We have 4 campus locations in Southwest Ohio. We also have a bunch of what we call satellite programs located in other schools. There are our partner school districts. So we have 26 of those locations. We have a couple other smaller satellites that we run. We've got one downtown for Health Professions Academy that does some just general low-level health products.
Given that it's a lot more complex than I think people think when they think Great Oaks, right? So what's the high level, the mantra I hear these days is layered security and things of that nature. Do you have a philosophy on how you're approaching security?
So we've geo-fenced a lot of our services off so that specifically, continental United States, we can only accept transactions from those locations. So that has significantly reduced our pieces as far as inbound traffic that we see hitting up against all of our items. On the other side of that, we still geofence things like email too. So I know on a typical day, I'm not going to have contact with somebody overseas in any of our business units to talk back and forth, just willy-nilly sort of conversation. We just don't get into that market. When we do have need for that, it is going to be a direct relationship that's been established. So we're able to open up those rules and allow those conversations to happen. So it doesn't really impact the business side of the operation, but it does significantly reduce the amount of security that we have to, watch over for our staff. So my general view on this is make it as easy as I can on staff to operate and function every day. Make it as hard as I can for other people to get inside that. So we do things with training for staff. So we use Know4. Know4's been a great partner for us for many years now. Our rate incident as far as people actually clicking on the spam or targeted emails is really significantly low. I mean, we're down in the 0.09% of people that actually.
Do you do some student training?
We have to, mandated by the federal government, actually. So, student training side, we do cyber training on the students. We do ethics training for the students, and essentially just general, good cyber. What you want to call it, just
Practices.
yeah, just general, like being a good citizen, cyber citizen would be a good way to
Imagine in
go.
today's educational environment, a lot of the teachers and instruction is dependent upon technology and,
Yep.
and applications, and so I would imagine connectivity is very, very important for the locations and making sure everybody's up all the time. I don't think any millennials or students of these days without connectivity could survive very long. Although I think you and I probably could. We'd probably like it.
Well, I took 4 weeks off last summer and left my phone at home. It was wonderful. But that being said, students are completely different, and so is staff. So within our organization, we try to get to the magical 4 nines, so 99.99% up. We meet that fairly high standard, so we're right now at 99.95% time total for internet access. We do that by going through multiple carrier situations so that we can actually offload part of that, which is good. In general, though, for schools and education in general, it's a weak spot. So I look at it as actually a business strategy, knowing that most of my stuff is in the cloud. The majority of our student data is being transferred from other providers back to us. It just becomes a business point at that point. Not that we have a bottom line that says we're losing money, but we're losing educational time. And since we're based off of time for everything that we do, that's very important.
Speaking of time, I wish we had more time, because this is great stuff. You're protecting our students, educating them, and carving out a great niche in the region with Great Oaks, and we appreciate your efforts today. And
Thank you.
ongoing. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for your time, Louie. I appreciate it.
Good deal. I want to thank Stephen for joining us today, and for those listening to the interview. To learn more, go to comspark.tech.